What's up, everyone? It's a Knife Style here, and today I'm going to be doing a Battle of the Blades comparing the Hogue Ritter RSK Mark 1 G2, which I'll call the Hogue Ritter the entire video, and comparing that to the PM2. And so the reason I want to do this Battle of the Blades video is because I compared the PM2 to the Benchmade Griptilian a couple months back, and I basically just came out with a recent video saying that I think the Hogue Ritter is better than the Griptilian in almost every way. And so I want to see how the Hogue Ritter stacks up against the PM2. Just comparing the overall specs of these knives, the Hogue Ritter it's a little bit shorter in overall length with 8.15 inches, and the PM2 is coming in at 8.28 inches. The blade lengths on these guys are pretty much exactly the same, coming in at about 3.44 inches, while the Hogue Ritter does have more of a cutting edge because of that forward finger choil on the PM2. And the weight of the Hogue Ritter is about three quarters of an ounce heavier, coming in at 4.5 ounces, while the PM2 is at 3.75 ounces. My PM2 has S35V in steel, while the stock one comes with S30V and just a black G10, and it comes at around $150. And then this Hogue Ritter has 20CV G10, and it comes in around $160. Both of these being made in the USA. And also I did a behind the edge thickness measurement. My Hogue Ritter is about 20 thousandths, my PM2 is about 22 thousandths, but this has been sharpened many times, so I think the PM2s come about 20 thousandths from the factory. But anyway, on to our first category of looks. This is completely my opinion, by the way, the looks category. I think that this Hogue Stonewash really just wins it for the looks. I just really like how it's mirrored. I just like the texturing. I like how it hides scratches still. It's just really good looking stonewash finish. One of my favorite blade finishes, if not my favorite. Nothing really opposed to the PM2. It's just the vertical satin finish. It looks good, but it's not my favorite thing. And one thing I don't like about PM2s is they come from the factory looking over sharpened. Yes, this probably looks a little higher up when you get it from the factory, but it's still like, it just looks over sharpened in my opinion, and I just think that's a little weird thing with it, and I wish there was a finger choil, which I guess that is more into use, but anyway, looks goes to the Hogue Ritter. On to the warranty of these knives. The winner in warranty definitely goes to the Hogue Ritter because I've had a great warranty experience with Hogue. I had to ship back my Deca to them because I messed something up with the pocket clip screws trying to switch it to an MXG deep carry clip, and that's for a ZT. So I just want to say, you've probably already heard me say this, but don't use that ZT, I believe it's the 0450 clip for your Hogue Deca. It will mess up the internals of your pocket clip screws. But anyway, Hogue got that knife back to me super fast. I really feel like it was in their factory for like a couple days, maybe just one day before it was already shipped back to me. And the total time that it took was probably a week and a half from when I shipped it to them, from when I got it back in my hand, perfectly fixed. But anyway, for the PM2, or no, I guess for Spyderco in general, their warranty, it's a good warranty, and I'm not trying to say it's a bad warranty, but just Hogue is a little bit of a smaller company, so they will be able to have more of a customer service feel and just more attention to detail with their warranty service than Spyderco. It's just really how it works. If you've had a good experience with Spyderco's warranty, that's good. I called them about something and they didn't return my call until a week later, and that's about the same time it took me to get my entire problem with Hogue fixed. So yeah, the winner of the warranty is going to the Hogue. For the fit and finish of these knives, the fit and finish of the Spyderco, all this G10 is nicely knocked down, so I guess that's good for the finish. No real sharp corners, except, yeah, this jimping is probably too rough for me. It's just, unless, if you're wearing gloves, that's good, but that will just tear up your fingers. But anyway, the centering check, this PM2 is pretty nicely centered. We have no blade play, no lock rock. Actually, I feel a tiny bit of lock rock there. Yeah, I do feel a tiny bit of lock rock there. So that's interesting. I had some lock rock with my Para 3, but I took it apart and bent the lock bar out a little bit. And now there's a little bit of lock stick, but whatever. So a little bit of lock rock on the PM2, that's probably gonna count against it. Once again, all the G10 on the Hogue is nicely knocked down. No real sharp corners anywhere, except for the blade. And oh yeah, what am I doing looking at it like this? Centering check. Yep, it is on center there. Just maybe, yeah, I can wiggle out a hint to side, but no up and down really. So I do think vertical blade play is more of an issue than horizontal, so I will give this to the Hogue Ritter because, yeah, vertical blade play, it means the lock is kind of moving back and forth, and I would much rather have a knife wiggle a little bit side to side because horizontal blade play is really only a negative when you are doing something like prying because it's obviously not as secure in the blade and it could mess up the internals inside here in that pivot area. And so vertical blade play is a lot worse than horizontal blade play in my opinion. They're both not great, but I would honestly rather have some horizontal blade play than vertical. So anyway, the Hogue Ritter is off to a killer lead, coming in at 3-0. So enough babbling, I need to start getting through these categories a little bit faster. Anyway, onto the locking mechanism. So yeah, I just said that really loud. Compression lock on the PM2, and like I said, a little bit of lock rock, and the able lock on the Hogue Ritter. And I honestly like the able lock a lot more, and that's really just because I like the springs on the able lock more. They are upgraded from the Benchmade Axis lock springs, so that's good. And I like this little bit of texturing on here. I think that gives good grip. And I really like the Axis lock, and I really just feel like this is a little bit of an improvement than Benchmade's Axis lock. The Spyderco compression lock, no real complaints. I mean, especially not with the PM2 because it doesn't have that little nub that sticks out, but that would be an issue for other Spyderco knives. But anyway, no real bad things about the compression lock. It isn't as ambidextrous as the able lock, and so that may be, I guess, the only negative about it, but I really just like the able lock a lot more than the compression lock. And if you are a hardcore lefty, there is a left-handed PM2, but it's always kind of iffy if those are in stock. I'm not entirely sure, but wow, I did not really expect the Hogue to be taking this away so far. But anyway, onto the, where am I? Onto the blade. So we have a 20 CV blade on the Hogue Ritter and a S35VN blade on this one. But if you are looking for the stock, it comes in S30V. Not much of a difference between those. Actually, I'm not going to say that. I never said that there was a difference because people in the comments will get mad. But anyway, okay, so I do like 20 CV more than S35VN and S30V. So there's that. I guess the Hogue wins in blade steel. It is a little bit thinner behind the edge, which I think it has better geometry just because the blade, yeah, the stock thickness on the PM2 is thicker, and so it is, the Hogue Ritter is just better at cutting because it's basically just, think of it as a triangle. It starts thinner up top and finishes thinner at the bottom, so it is a much thinner cutting surface, while the PM2 is more like that. So if you're cutting, it is much better for the Hogue Ritter. So for that reason, the Hogue Ritter wins. Oh, also a touch on blade shape. Both are very good blade shapes that I really like, but once again, I like the Hogue Ritter's blade shape more. So I think that the Hogue pretty much wins in everything on the blade. And also, yeah, this could be knocked down a little bit, this satin finish on the Spyderco PM2. Well, because of the stone wash, it is very nicely knocked down on the Hogue Ritter. So on to the next category, which is the carry of these knives. So I have a MXG gear clip on this, and I honestly don't need it at all. I just put it on for fun, and I probably should take it off, but it's really, I just had one laying around, so I figured why not put it on my PM2. But anyway, I'll just put the stock clip right over it, I guess. I hope that's working. Okay, yeah, so the carry of these, they are both good. Yeah, I'm going to give the carry of this to the PM2 because even though the Hogue Ritter has a deep carry clip, and yes, it is secondary to the lanyard hole, which the carry of how deep it is doesn't really matter to me all that much, but the reason that the Hogue loses is because, as you guys can see, there is like vertical G10 pattern here and up here, but then there's a little oval here that it has vertical and horizontal, and the pocket clip sits on some of that material. And what they did to compensate for this, for ease of pulling it out of the pocket, is they put a very, very light tension on this clip. It's not very strong at all. So basically, I always am kind of paranoid that if I'm like laying down or sitting in a weird position, this could fall out. I don't expect to be like riding a roller coaster with a knife, and I'm not all concerned about that, but it's just, I think that the Hogue Ritter loses because it's sitting on that heavily textured G10. The PM2 is sitting on heavily textured G10 as well, but it's probably just a little bit better. And another point for the PM2, it weighs less, so it will carry if you're wearing lighter shorts or pants or whatever. So on to the ease of disassembly, and the Hogue is going to win this category again because they are both T10 pivots with T8 body screws, and the PM2 has T6 pocket clip screws. Those kind of look like T8s. I'm not really going to go to the trouble to go to that, but anyway, the Hogue wins because of this lanyard barrel that everyone gets mad about. I honestly haven't messed with doing a PM2 at all, and so yeah, lanyard barrel, that's the reason that the PM2 loses, and yeah, it's just as simple as that. So the Hogue is winning by a lot right now. Didn't expect it to be this much. Hogue's winning 6-1. But anyway, on to the, where am I? The ergonomics of these knives. So I think this is going to be another win for the Hogue Ritter, and if you guys probably know, I use the PM2 as an example of bad ergonomics a lot when I talk about the ergonomics of a knife, and these knives both do the same thing wrong. So the thing that the PM2 does wrong is, look at this little belly right here. This is just one of the many things the ergonomics on the PM2 does wrong. What that makes is when you grip it down in this choked back position, which is probably what you'd be doing if you're doing maybe a more aggressive use, you probably wouldn't be super close to the blade, which I do feel locked in here. I would probably be more safe. I wouldn't want to bang my knuckles on whatever I'm trying to cut or whatever. But anyway, the problem is there is this belly here, and when you grip down hard, that just digs right into your middle finger and ring finger. You guys might be able to see a red mark from it. Another thing is this back of this knife is curved pretty much all the way throughout. So when this is sitting on my palm, let me get this kind of a weird view of it. It is not making full surface contact, and so it is just putting pressure in random areas as the knife is rocking back, and that can create a hot spot over time. Now the Hogue Ritter kind of does the same thing, so I'll pull out an example of good. The Spyderco. That is a completely flat spine, except it does taper at the end here, but anyway, that creates full surface contact with my hand, so when I am bearing down on this knife and the knife pushes up on me, it will cover the whole area of my hand, and all the strength in my hand will basically be countering that force applied to it. Man, I'm using some smart words right now. But anyway, the ergonomics on the Spyderco are much better because they are simple and they are flat, while the PM2 has a ton of curves like that, and the Hogue Ritter does not have as many curves. It only has one finger groove and then straight, or pretty much straight, which I like about that, but it does have this curved back where it does not make full surface contact with my hand. Now, this does have this little, I guess, taper back here, and what that does is when you're holding it in a reverse grip like this, that finger groove right there does not create a hot spot because this part back here is making contact with your hand. And I do like this grip for if I'm cutting open a box and I'm cutting like the top piece of tape and I don't want to damage what's inside the box, and the PM2 does not do that. It just creates a hot spot. Another thing against the PM2 is that this jimping is way too sharp, like I said before. So the Hogue Ritter pretty much destroys this knife in ergonomics. But anyway, on to the next category, which is the deployment of these knives. So, deployment. Spidey hole versus thumb studs, and I'm going to give this to the PM2 just because a lot of people like the Spidey hole a lot more. You know, I honestly don't care that much. I do like a Spidey hole, and I do like thumb studs. I think thumb studs are better to thumb roll. Spidey hole still is easy to thumb roll, but it is, I gotta admit, it's fun. You can open this in a lot of different ways. Let's see if I can... Yeah, you can do that or whatever. It's kind of hard because I'm cramped by the camera. But anyway, PM2 wins deployment. Or I guess that was just the whole entire action section. I keep forgetting I changed the rules. But anyway, PM2 wins the action. So for the last category, the value of these knives. Like I said before, the 20CV and G10 Hogue Ritter and the stock form comes in at $160, while the S30V and Black G10 PM2 comes in at $150. Both these being made in America, and this S35 VM1 was about $160. So the winner of this definitely 100% goes to the Hogue Ritter because I think that it took a lot more attention to detail when using this. Because, oh yeah, that's my next category that I forgot before I went to value. Sorry about that, attention to detail. The reason that the Hogue Ritter wins attention to detail is because it's got this nice contouring on the handles. I really like the stonewash finish. It's got a reinforced axis lock, and even though that this is sitting on texture G10, they did pay attention to that and loosen up the tension on the clip, so I can't appreciate that for them. And the PM2, it's not that they're not paying attention to the details, it's just there's nothing really entirely special about this knife. But anyway, so yeah, back onto the value portion of this. The Hogue Ritter, I think, wins because you are getting 20 CV over S30V, and while I honestly would be fine with either steel if I had to use it for the rest of my life, I think that 20 CV obviously costs more, and Hogue is doing this at a very close price than what Spyderco is doing it at. So that's going to do it for the video. The Hogue pretty much absolutely destroyed the PM2, which I was not expecting at all, and a quick count up. Yeah, the Hogue won 9 of the categories, and the PM2 won 2 of them. Well, I'm pretty sure the PM2 beat the Griptilian when I did that comparison. So that goes to show you how much different the Hogue Ritter is from the Griptilian, in my opinion. But anyway, I hope I didn't offend any PM2 lovers out there, which I don't really care if I did. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. We are closing in on 500 subscribers, and I will be doing a giveaway on that. I don't know how many people are still watching, but I will be giving away this Kaiser Mini Sheepdog that I just failed to flip. Let me do that again. There we go. It's got a little bit of a soft D10 there. But I've had this knife for so long, and I tried to sell it months and months ago. I think it was in 2019 that I tried to sell it, and I never sold it. So yeah, but anyway, thanks for watching. I will also be giving away some other things. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.